Good afternoon, people. This is your girl from Mel'S Mat Chat, and welcome to episode 249 of the podcast. I know I was supposed to go live at 8 o'clock, but things just went nuts. So this is going to be an upload. I have to do this as an upload. As soon as this is over, I got to get myself ass packed, and I got to get my ass over to my cousin's house. This weekend is my uncle's 60th surprise birthday party, so shush. And also, on Sunday, it's my grandmother's 80th birthday barbecue. So it's going to be family, 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 family. So let's get this started. Hopefully, everybody's going to have a great Friday. I'm going to have a really busy weekend, but it's okay. I'm going to be seeing a lot of family members, which I desperately need to see. So we're going to get through this. I'm also going to be covering SummerSlam. I'm also going to try to cover the Ric Flair's last match and whatnot. I may do that as a separate video sometime during the week. So that, so it's like separate and it has its own thing. I want him to have his own thing and whatnot. So let's get this started. You know who I promote. It's Harry's.com, MyAstroClassics.com, LiquidDeath.com, DeathWishCoffee.com, HOG Wrestling. Seriously, go to HOGWrestling.net, and if you're in the area of August 28th, you can get a ticket to be in there. You're going to be in store for a treat. House of Black is going to make their debut. Also, Eddie Kingston's going to be back, and we found out who I believe Aleister Black is going to be, not Aleister Black, Malachi Black, sorry. I was watching something with him when he was in WWE, sorry. Freudian slip. He's going to be facing Amazing Red, so that alone just sells the price of admission alone. Also, Eddie Kingston, I believe, is going to be back, so it's going to be a great event. If you can't be there, it's going to be on Fight TV. Hopefully it's not going to be like $30, because I'll find it someplace else. Don't worry about it. Also, please go check out Outbreak Wrestling on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. So let's get this started. We're going to get you started from SmackDown from last week. SmackDown started off with Stephanie McMahon in the ring. Stephanie announces Vince McMahon's retirement to the live crowd and tells that Vince McMahon wanted to thank them all as well as everyone who worked with WWE and who was working with them now. Stephanie leads the crowd in thank you chant. She has now been appointed as co-CEO with Nick Khan, with on top of her roles as chairwoman of the board. Now, what I did was I did the smart thing, and I looked everything up. If she has the chairwoman of the board and co-CEO, she's the end-all be-all. Nick Khan can't do shit without her, without getting the okay. So basically, Triple H and Stephanie are the king and queen of WWE, the new king and queen of WWE, because that's a little disrespectful to Linda, and she's been disrespected way too much. So the Street Profits theme song hits, and Dawkins and Ford make their way out through the crowd. Dawkins says the next Saturday, anything is possible. Kevin Garnett, quote, going over well with the Boston crowd. Dawkins says SummerSlam will bring home the tag team titles. Theory comes out and says that nobody cares what the Street Profits are doing at SummerSlam because people care about him taking back his United States Championship and then cashing in to become the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion at SummerSlam. Hearing this, the Usos come out. Jay tells Theory to keep the tribal chief's name out of his mouth as they get in the ring. Dawkins and Ford immediately attack the Usos as Theory joins in the fight against the Street Profits. Madcap Moss then runs out to the ring for an all-out brawl, and Moss and the Street Profits clear the ring together. Dawkins hits a dive to the outside to take out the Usos and Theory. So we go back and we come back from a commercial break. We have Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ludwig Kaiser. Our opening match begins with Ludwig backing Nakamura into the corner with a series of stomps and punches. Ludwig hits a diving uppercut with Nakamura on the mat, and Ludwig covers for a 2 count. Nakamura hits a kick to the side of the head and then hits several kicks to the chest in the corner. Ludwig hits a vertical suplex and follows with a running knee. Ludwig attempts 2 separate covers, then both get a 2 count. Nakamura goes for a kick on the apron, but Ludwig catches the leg and slams Nakamura on the apron. Off the apron. Ludwig then throws Nakamura right to the steel stairs. We come back from the commercial break and we continue live with Ludwig having Nakamura in a chin lock. Ludwig goes for a suplex, but Nakamura counters it and hits an enziguri. Nakamura hits a sliding German suplex and hits a knee strike from the middle rope, but Ludwig rolls outside the ring. Nakamura goes out and gets into a confrontation with Nakamura. Nakamura gets back in the ring and Ludwig gets an inside cradle for a 2 count. Gunther hits Nakamura with a right hand while the ref is distracted. And Ludwig takes advantage and covers for the 3 counts. Ludwig wins. Ludwig celebrates on the top of the stage. Gunther yells at Ludwig, and Ludwig prepares himself for more chops. Gunther pats Ludwig on his shoulder and smiles, and Ludwig breathes a sigh of relief. And then Gunther hits a chop on a unsuspecting Ludwig to knock him to the ground. We go to commercial break live with SmackDown Women's Champion Liv Morgan being interviewed backstage along with her SummerSlam challenger Ronda Rousey. Rousey gets right in Morgan's face and says she respects Morgan, but she will beat her at SummerSlam, and that when she beats her, she expects Morgan to shake her hand, as like she shook Morgan's hand. Morgan says she has loved this more than Rousey. She needs this more than her. Morgan says if she defeats Rousey, she will shake her hand. When she defeats Rousey, she will shake her hand. We cut to the commentary booth where Pat McAfee and Michael Cole are interrupted by Happy Corbin attacking McAfee with a big boot to the face. Corbin throws McAfee into the barricade, and Corbin walks back up the ramp laughing. McAfee gets up, sprints up the ramp, and chasing Corbin. McAfee catches up with Corbin backstage and getting a few hits in. WWE officials separate them. So come back from a commercial break. Back live with McAfee getting in the ring. McAfee says at SummerSlam, Corbin won't be able to run from him or attack him from behind. At SummerSlam, he will put Corbin down for good. We have Jinder Mahal and Shaky versus the Viking Raiders. The match begins with Eric hitting a big shoulder tackle. Ivar tags in and slams Mahal to the mat, and Mahal rolls outside the ring. Ivar follows with throws Mahal to the steel steps, and then Mahal throws him over the commentary table onto the New Day. Mahal is left there as the Viking Raiders take a count-out victory. If they want to do a pre-show match, this would be great. And then whoever wins gets either the Usos or the Profits at the Clash of the Castle. Have the Viking Raiders win because the Vikings, the Scottish, and everything like that. It's just a theme. I mean, that's logical, you know. I know WWE's got to get used to logic, people. We have a commercial break and we come back with Brawling Brutes in the ring. Sheamus says this should have been the night he kicks Drew McIntyre's head off and goes on to the Clash of the Castle. Sheamus says that's as long as McIntyre is allowed to swing his sword around, this match will not happen. Sheamus says the medieval weapon of war had no place in the ring. Drew McIntyre then comes out, sword in hand, and enters the ring. Sheamus says that Ridge Holland will take Butch out of the ring if McIntyre puts the sword away. McIntyre puts the sword away, and Holland and Butch leave the ring. McIntyre asks where's Sheamus. He is known for where's the Sheamus he knows for 20 years. McIntyre says that they have a chance to wrestle in front of 70,000 fans in the same place they used to wrestle in front of 100 fans. McIntyre tells Sheamus to show his passion once again and fight him right here, right now. Sheamus says McIntyre will get his fight, not just on tonight. Sheamus says he has spoken to management and they have scheduled Sheamus versus McIntyre for the next week's SmackDown in a special type of match where McIntyre's sword is banned, but the variety of weapons will be allowed. And Sheamus reveals a variety of shillelaghs, and Adam Pearce comes out to announce that match is official. Raquel Rodriguez makes her way out to the ring for her newly announced match against Sonya Deville. The match begins with Rodriguez backing Deville in the corner. Deville grabs Rodriguez's hair and slams her head into the turnbuckle. Deville slams Rodriguez's head off the turnbuckle several times and follows with a running knee, and Deville covers for a 2 count. Rodriguez hits a headbutt and follows with a fallaway slam, and then a corkscrew elbow from the middle rope. Rodriguez covers, but Deville grabs the bottom rope at the count of 2. Deville goes for a guillotine choke, but Rodriguez slams Deville to the mat. Rodriguez hits a powerbomb and covers for the 3 count. So Rodriguez is the winner. We come back from commercial break and we have another women's match. Okay. We have Lacey Evans versus Aaliyah. Oh my God, we gotta get the popcorn. Seriously. Before the bell, Evans grabs a mic and says the crowd reaction is no way to treat an American hero. Evans says the city of Boston was founded by hard-working American heroes like herself. Evans says she is better than each and every one in the crowd. Evans takes a cheap shot and hits a woman's right to Aaliyah. Evans salutes the crowd, and Evans leaves the ring as a scheduled match involving Evans and Aaliyah once again does not actually take place. Jeff Jarrett is interviewed backstage in a referee shirt. He says the support he has received since being announced as the special guest referee has been overwhelming. Jarrett says after the controversy between the Usos and the Street Profits, they need someone capable of getting the job done, and that is none other than Jeff Jarrett. Hall of Fame, Jeff Jarrett. Okay? We have the main event, which SmackDown, where I felt it was over in like 10 minutes, which was great. We're starting to see the flow of things. We can't be having like stop, start. It was ridiculous. Jesus. It was over. It was done. That's how shows should be. Watch it, get it over with, and you move on. The Usos and the Theory versus the Street Profits and Madcap Moss. Our main event, 6-man tag, begins with Dawkins getting Jimmy Uso with a roll up for a quick 2 count. Dawkins then hits a standing dropkick, and Dawkins then locks in an armbar. But Jimmy backs Dawkins in the corner, Ford tags in and hits with a dropkick. Jey Uso runs in, and Dawkins and Ford hit a double dropkick. Ford steals the Money in the Bank briefcase and taunts Theory with it. We come back. The match continues with Moss hitting a back elbow to Jay. Theory makes a blind tag and begins to stomp Moss in the corner. Jimmy Uso tags in as the heel team continues to work over Moss in the corner. Jay goes for a dive in the corner, but Moss dodges it, causing Jade to hit face first in the corner and allowing Moss to tag in Dawkins, who was in getting a few strikes, and then tags in Ford, who hits a diving crossbody and covers for a 2 count. Jay hits an uppercut and sends Ford outside the ring, and the Usos throw Ford over the barricade outside. Back live with Jay hitting a super kick to the unsuspecting Dawkins on the apron. Jay tags in Jimmy as Madcap Moss is tagged in. Moss hits a power slam to Jimmy, and then Moss catches a diving Theory and hits him with a fallaway slam. Jimmy hits Moss with a super kick and covers for a 2 count. Jimmy goes to tag in Theory, but Theory leaves the ring apron and goes for a walk to the back. But then Jay hits Theory with a super kick, and then Jimmy hits a super kick of his own. Theory Ford kick of his own to Theory. Ford hits a dive over the top to take out both Usos. Theory shows up to throw Madcap Moss back in the ring and continues the match. Theory hits a back elbow and hits a neck breaker, covers for the 2. Moss hits a big shoulder tackle and goes for a running spear in the corner, but Theory hits with the briefcase to cause a DQ finish. So the winner is the Street Profits and Madcap Moss, and I have a loose piece of skin. Jesus Christ, what a time. I know. There, I think. There. So Theory continues to beat down after this match of Moss with the briefcase. Then Brock Lesnar's music hits, and Lesnar makes his way out to the ring, and Lesnar absolutely destroys Theory, and SmackDown ends with Brock Lesnar standing tall in the ring. Alright, if Reigns is going to win, right? If Reigns is going to win, Theory cashes in on... I would, to just fucking ruin everything, have Theory cash in and then come up and cause a DQ. First man ever to get a DQ, can't cash, so he then can go and say, well, I never really got a fair share, but people are going to say, well, you got the money in the bank, you can do whatever you want, or I would. So both of the guys will be assert yourself, say, I want to be in this, I want to be in a triple threat. Go and be outside and take your spots. Triple H needs to make a splash, right? Do it with that, and do it with, because it was announced that Riddle, because of what happened on Monday, can't compete. And you'll get the run through of that and SmackDown on my preview and predictions. I'm hoping that I can record it tonight after SmackDown and Rampage. So this is where Triple H is going to have to make his calling card. He's going to have to pick his spot and pick it strategically. If he's going to get who I think he's going to get, that's going to be his calling card, and he will be anointed and the whole giddy up. We're going to move right on to NXT 2.0, and then we're going right into Dynamite and Rampage, or Rampage and then Dynamite. I know. I should reverse it, you know? Start off NXT with Zoe Starks makes her way to the ring to start the show. Starks says it feels so good to be back in the ring. She says she tore her ACL straight off the bone at Halloween Havoc. She was told she'd be out a year. Starks said deep down she knew she could beat that timetable. Stark says she got to work straight away. Stark wondered if fans would remember her. She says she lived in the trainer's room. She got back 4 months ahead of schedule. Stark says it made all the hard times worth it with the noise she heard from the fans when she returned. Stark talks about toxic attraction, the same women that nearly ended her career. Stark says she's going to make the NXT Women's Champion. She's going to take the NXT Women's Championship from Mandy Rose. Cora Jade appears in the rafters. Stark asks Jade how she felt about being thrown over the ropes after she returned. Jade blames Stark for stealing her moment, just like Roxanne Perez ruined her moment. Starks called Jade a piece of trash. Toxic attraction that appeared. Rose says when it comes to the title, she only wins. When she's only defending it when it needs to be. And then she goes through all the fucking goddamn people that she's the ring. Notice that she hasn't touched Asuka and Shayna Baszler. Okay? Rose says tomorrow she will become the fourth longest reigning NXT Women's Champion, mentioning Paige, Bayley. Rose tells everyone to put some respect on her name. Stark asks Rose for a title match tonight. Gigi Dolan says she will fight Stark tonight. Grayson Waller cuts a promo backstage while walking to the ring. He said he's going to embarrass Wesley next. I feel bad for Wesley, especially what's been going on with, his Nash Carter and the whole MSK situation. So let's move on. Grayson Waller versus Wesley. Oh, sorry, I'm running ahead. I'm sorry. Backstage, Tony D'Angelo talks to his family. He said he's got a good feeling about the direction of the family. He says that everyone is going to keep proving their worth. D'Angelo says tonight it's all about business. Now we go to Grayson Waller versus Wesley. Waller gains the early advantage by toying with Lee. Lee responds by taking Waller down with an arm drag. Lee uses his athleticism to take Waller off his feet. Waller gets frustrated and runs straight into a series of arm drags. Lee knocks Waller down again. Waller responds with a big boot to the midsection. The action heads outside. Lee takes control and sends Waller back into the ring. Waller turns the tables with a backbreaker. Waller sends Lee back to the floor. Waller delivers a chop to the chest of Lee before sending him back into the ring. Lee looks to fight back, but Waller stops him in his tracks. After Waller dominated, Lee hit back. Lee was sent to the outside, and someone on the front row knocked him out with a punch. The referee didn't see what happened. Lee manages to break the referee count. Waller lands a cutter in the middle of the ring to win the match. It was revealed that Trick Williams who knocked Lee down with boxing gloves. So basically, it was loaded boxing gloves. So Waller wins via pinfall. Joe Gacy is interviewed backstage with the Dyad, Jagger Reed, and Rip Fowler. Speak about joining Gacy. Gacy says he can be an important figure in Cameron Grimes' life. Gacy says they will continue their message next week. Backstage, Indy Hartwell and Ariana Grace have an encounter backstage ahead of the match later tonight. Apollo Crews versus Zion Quinn. Crews manages to take Quinn down and dominates in early stages of the match. Quinn replies and Crews on the back foot. Crews delivered a big suplex and now has control of the match. Quinn locks Crews in a headlock submission on the mat. Quinn continues to wear down Crews. Crews eventually builds momentum once more and delivers a flurry of moves. Crews takes Quinn down with a crossbody. Quinn turns the tables once again, but unable to finish off Crews. Crews manages to plant Quinn back first into the mat for the win. Crews picks up the win. Backstage, Toxic Attraction interviewed Rose says Dolan is going to cancel Stark's opportunity at the Women's Championship set to take place in 3 weeks at Heatwave. Saray interrupts eyeing the Women's Championship match. Rose says she'd never forgotten what she did to her. A vignette airs for Solo Sikoa ahead of his match against Von Wagner in a Falls Count Anywhere match next week. Gigi Dolan with JCJ and NXT Women's Champion Mandy Rose versus Zoe Starks. Stark sends Dolan in the corner. Stark attempts to continue her offense, but Rose and Jade causes a distraction at ringside. Starks hit a series of moves on Dolan in response. Stark eventually lands a knee to the face of Dolan to win. So Starks wins by pinfall. Jade attempts to attack Stark after the match. Rose attempts to enter the ring, but escapes. Stark signals that the NXT Women's Champion will be hers in 3 weeks. Jade hits the ring and hits Stark with a kendo stick. Jade then makes her return as Jade quickly exits through the crowd. Perez helps Stark to her feet. In the parking lot, J.D. McDonnell arrives. He says he's a member of the paying public tonight after arriving in a black Charger. Yes, that's the way I seen it when it was panning. A vignette showing Wendy Chu dreaming about Tiffany Stratton's attacks. When she wakes up, she explains that she woke up on the wrong side of the bed because of Stratton. Chu says the next time Stratton sees her, it will be lights out. J.D. McDonnell is shown sitting in the crowd. He apologizes to the fans for not introducing himself properly. JD goes up to a fan eating popcorn and asks how many Americans pass away eating popcorn per year. McDonald then goes up to the timekeeper and picks up a hammer. McDonald tells everyone what a hammer can do to a human hand. McDonald then focuses on Alicia Taylor and Wade Barrett. McDonald tells Barrett it appears the bare-knuckle boxing has taken its toll on his hands, and it could be damaging for him. McDonald then goes to Vic Joseph and says he didn't like the way he spoke about his family last week. McDonald threatens to break his collarbone. McDonald calls out NXT champion Braun Breaker to the ring to introduce himself. Breaker says in 3 weeks it is Heat Wave event. Breaker says next week they're making their match official. McDonald headbutts Breaker. Breaker replies, giving McDonald a taste of his own medicine. Backstage, Andre Chase University take talking Nathan Frazier his return and asked if he can be the flag carrier for the next match. A vignette showing recap Axiom debut. Backstage, Roxanne Perez is interviewed. Perez says it's fine if Cora Jade wants to throw away their friendship. Perez says she can't stand for Jade throwing the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships in the trash. Then Alundra Blaze Medusa then appears with a trash can. Perez pulls out the title. Jade drops in the trash. Blaze says next week there will be a fatal four-way for the titles. We go on to the next match. Giovanna Vinci versus Andre Chase. Vinci immediately showcases his strength in early moments. Chase manages to take Vinci down to the mat and locks him in submission. Vinci counters and locks Chase in a headlock. Chase reverses and locks Vinci in another submission. A number of near falls occur and Chase once again takes down Vinci. Vinci responds with a big drop kick. Vinci grabs a snap suplex, a Chase U flag. Snaps a Chase U flag, sorry. Chase sends Vinci through the middle turnbuckle into the ring post. We got a commercial. Back live, Vinci is in control of the match as we return from commercial. Chase lands a near fall with a pin attempt. Vinci sends Chase to the outside, back of the ring. Chase lands a series of strikes to Vinci. Chase stomps Vinci on the mat as the fans chant out initials to Chase U. Vinci catches Chase from the top and delivers a big suplex. Chase scores another near fall following a powerbomb. Vinci then delivers his own powerbomb to win the match. So then after the match, Vinci attacks Chase. Nathan Frazier enters the ring and chases off Vinci. Backstage, Diamond Mine are shown warming up for their match against Tony D'Angelo's family. They have a pep talk to get fired up. Ulissa Leone and Valencia Feroz talk over a table about the opportunity in the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship match next week. Backstage, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter are interviewed. Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley interrupt, and both teams argue over who will win the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship match next week. Elektra Lopez enters and brawls and takes place. India Hartwell versus Ariana Grace. Hartwell and Grace lock up to get the match underway. Hartwell keeps Grace at bay and sends her down on the canvas. Grace replies as the moment swings in her favor. Grace registers a near fall with a pin attempt. Grace locks Hartwell in a head submission on the mat. Grace pins Hartwell but uses the ropes for leverage, which the referee spots. Hartwell bashes Grace in the face to win the match. Indeed, Hartwell pins Grace. Backstage, Von Wagner, Mr. Stone responds to Solo Sikoa's challenge. Mr. Stone encourages Von Wagner to decline. Von Wagner, however, accepts. A vignette for Kiana James. James presents a slideshow about the NXT Women's Division. She's focused on tearing down Nikita Lyons. A video package airs promoting Alba Fire as Lash Legends take place next week. A preview graphic for NXT Women's Tag Team Title Championship match is shown, which will kick off the show next week. An NXT Championship Summit will take place as well as Von Wagner versus Solo Square in a Fall Count Anywhere match. Tony D'Angelo and the D'Angelo family versus Diamond Mine. Strong starts the match off for Diamond Mine and goes to work on the opposing team. Julius is tagged in and sends Stacks across the ring. Moments later, Julius is backed into the corner of the D'Angelo family. All 8 competitors ultimately enter the ring and action spills all over. Diamond Mine gained the advantage. D'Angelo replied by keeping Kemp in their corner. After a chaotic back and forth, Tony D'Angelo picks up the win after Strong accidentally connects with Julius. So the winner is the D'Angelo family. In the parking lot, Alundra Blaze is greeted by Gigi Dolan and JCJ. Toxic Attraction want her to hand over the tag team titles. Blaze says they will have to fight for the titles next week. So that's the end of NXT. That's the end of WWE coverage. We're gonna go right into Rampage from last week. Itching like crazy. It's these stupid fucking allergies. Alright, this is the second portion of the second portion to the 4th night of Firefest. So, we're going to get right to it. First match, Hangman, Adam Page, and John Silver versus the Butcher and the Blade. The Butcher chopped Silver and then dared Page to get in the ring. Blade tagged in and stomped a mud hole into Silver. Alex Reynolds is not cleared for this match after the attack by the Butcher and the Blade, so Adam Hangman Page stepped in, said Excalibur. Hangman tagged in and clobbered Butcher with a lariat. Page followed up with a tope suicida on the Blade. The Blade distracted the referee, Rick Knox, so the Butcher could employ some dirty work on Page. The Blade nailed Silver with a Dr. Bomb. Silver tagged out to Adam Hangman Page. Hit Butcher and the Blade with elbows. Page dumped Blade out to the arena floor. Page staggered Butcher with a lariat. Butcher tried a German suplex, but Page landed on his feet and then blasted Butcher with a Roman lariat. Silver came in with a German suplex on the Butcher. Hangman followed up with a buckshot lariat and pinned the Butcher. So, what I think should happen with the Dark Order, have everybody go their separate ways. Let it go for a year or two. Have a storyline that everybody needs to get back together for some sort of purpose. Because I understand because of Brody Lee, but still, they can go do other things. So, that's just what I think should happen. We have Claudio Castagnoli came into the ring to talk about his match at Ring of Honor. Claudio, Jonathan Gresham against Claudio Castagnoli for the Ring of Honor World Championship. That is one thing that I've been eluding my whole life, my whole career. I never thought I was the best because I won the most championships. I believe I'm the best because you guys support me and you guys believe in me. Jonathan Gresham, you said you'll outclass, outwrestle every guy you step in the ring with. You never stepped in the ring with Claudio Castagnoli. You call yourself the Foundation, there's a crack in it. the Foundation because you tugged on Superman's cape. Jonathan Grisham has asked Tony Khan for his release from AEW/ROH, and he's being an ass about it. So if anybody supports that asshole, you can have him. He's a disrespectful son of a bitch. You know, I'm not a fucking AEW shill or a mark or whatnot. I enjoy wrestling. But you do that to your fucking boss, your new fucking boss, is terrible. Nobody's gonna fucking want to work with you in any fucking company now. Because you're hard to work with. Go to Impact. Who watches that? I mean, Jesus Christ. Come on. Come on, people. Who watches that? I've tried to watch it, but I can't even get it on my computer. I have to actually go and watch it on my TV, which I sometimes don't want to do. Okay? Go to Japan. He's not going to fare well over there. He'll be junior heavyweight for the rest of his fucking life. The likes of Jay White took them long enough to get to that point. They're not ready for a 5'2". He's taller than me. I'm 5'4". Barely 5'4". I'm taller than him. Jordan Grace, I think your husband's drunk. Go get him and talk some sense into him. Because he's making a huge mistake. That's going to probably cost you in the long run because they're going to think, oh, if he's hard to work with, you're hard to work with. So then after the in-ring promo with Claudio Castagnoli, Tully Blanchard Enterprises was watching from the Skybox suite in the arena. Inhuman Dante Martin versus Lee Moriarty. Dante and Lee chain wrestled. Dante tripped Lee and maintained wrist control. Grabbed a cradle on Lee, but Lee escaped. Dante Martin was thrown into the ropes, but countered with a dropkick on his way down. Stokely Hathaway walked onto the ramp and was scouting the action. Dante was looking for a full Nelson, but Lee fought out of it. Lee slid under Dante and locked in the Boulder City stretch. Dante Martin is fading, said Excalibur. Dante was able to grab the bottom rope, forcing the ref to break the hold. I don't know if Lee noticed that Stokely is watching him, said Tony Schiavone. Dante tried for the Okada roll, but Moriarty rolled back, grabbed the ropes, and stole a victory. Matt Sydal grabbed the microphone and said he believed in Moriarty, but next week Moriarty will be facing him on Rampage. Teacher versus student. Stokely tried to hand his business card to Lee, but Lee smiled and walked away without taking it from Stokely Hathaway. Testing 1, 2, 1, 2. Dr. Britt Baker, TMT. And Jamie Hayter with Reby versus Ashley Demoise and Blue Sky. Baker blasted Blue with a elbow strike, then yanked Blue down to the mat by the hair. Britt Baker followed up with a thrust kick. Hayter tagged in and Hayter hit Blue with a series of stops. Baker tagged back in and dropped elbows to the side of Blue's head. Finally, Blue rallied and made a tag to Ashley. Ashley assaulted Hayter with elbow strikes and a guillotine. Ashley went for the neck breaker, but Hayter avoided it. Hayter nailed Ashley with a backbreaker. Hayter tagged out to Britt Baker, who drilled Ashley with a butterfly suplex. Baker applied the lockjaw to force Ashley Demoise to tap out. Rap battle between the Acclaim and the Gun Club. Little Scrappy was the judge for this rap battle. Scrappy declared the Acclaim the winners. Billy Gunn imposed his will, decking Little Scrappy at the announcement. The Gun Club outnumbered the Acclaim and began to beat them down. The Gun Club may have lost the rap battle, but they got the last word in here tonight, said Excalibur. The main event, Jay Lethal versus the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels. Ring of Honor commentary, Priest Coleman joined the broadcast booth for this match. Both men are Grand Slam champions in their own right, said Priest Coleman. Daniels used a scoop slam on Lethal. Jay answered with a European uppercuts. Jay Lethal flew out of the ring onto CD with a tope suicida. Lethal was attempting a muscle buster on Daniels, but Daniels pushed Lethal off. Daniels attempted a dropkick off the turnbuckles, but Lethal dodged it and connected with a thrust kick to Daniels. Christopher Daniels nailed Jay Lethal with a knee strike to the temple of the head. Daniels rocked Jay with the STO, keeping the pressure on Jay. Lethal. Daniels got a near fall on Lethal after a blue thunderbomb. Lethal hit Daniels with a lethal combination. Lethal climbed to the top rope for the Hail to the King elbow drop, but Daniels got his boot up. Lethal tried to transition to a figure four, but Daniels pushed Lethal away. Daniels went for the angel wings, but Lethal escaped and pinned Daniels after the lethal injection. Jay heads to we go to the first of Fight for the Fallen. And this was on the 27th, and they were hailing from the DCU Center in Worcester, Massachusetts. We started off hot for the AEW Interim World Title match. Jon Moxley versus Rush. Rush has not been pinned in over a year, noted Excalibur. Blackpool Combat Club William Regal joined commentary team for this match. Rush ambushed Moxley from behind as Moxley was attempting to enter the ring. Rush knows this is the biggest match he'd ever had in pro wrestling, said Jim Ross. Rush wiped out the knee from Moxley and began to stomp him. Rush followed up with splashes in the corner. Rush showing Moxley that he can fight dirty, said Taz. After biting Moxley's forehead, Rush smeared Moxley's blood on his chest outside the ring. Rush swung a chair at Moxley's leg, but Moxley grabbed it. Rush turned his back and Moxley drove Rush into the steel ring barricade with a tope suicida. Moxley is working on a 14-match winning streak. He wants to win this or lose it like a man, said Jim Ross. Moxley and Rush had a chop fest in the ring. Rush answered with a thrust kick outside the ring. Rush wrapped TV camera cable around Mox and began to choke him. Back in the ring, Moxley suplexed Rush. Moxley rocked Rush with a King Kong lariat. Rush dodged a charge from Moxley and used Moxley's momentum against him, countering with a snap German suplex. Rush applied a cross-face submission. Moxley transitioned out and booted Rush in the jaw repeatedly. Rush sent Moxley soaring into the buckles with a belly-to-belly suplex. I'm impressed with Rush, said Regal. Moxley bit down on Rush's head. Andrade El Idolo shoved Mox off the ropes. The Lucha Brothers ran out and chased Andrade away. Rush was looking for the double knees, but Moxley countered with a clothesline. Roosh rallied back with a straightjacket pile driver for the near fall on Moxley. Roosh ran towards Moxley with the bull's horn, but Moxley had it scouted. Mox ducked under a knee and nailed Roosh with a Death Rider. Moxley applied the bulldog choke, submission, and retained. You're probably saying, what the hell is a Death Rider? It's the same fucking move. It's just that he uses that supposedly in New Japan. That I don't understand why they don't use the same terminology throughout. What's the difference? It's the same fucking move. It's just named differently, which I don't understand. So then after the match, the Wizard, Chris Jericho, walks onto the ramp with members of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Jericho, Moxley, I just had to come out here and congratulate you on an amazing match. You've done a great job as interim champion. You are on a roll, but it's nothing compared to the role that Jericho Appreciation Society is on. I beat Eddie Kingston. And Moxley, I'm going to beat you. After 2.5 years, I'm demanding my rematch for the AEW World Championship in 2 weeks at Quake by the Lake on Dynamite. So you're going to actually, you shouldn't be challenging him. He's the interim. It's a different World Championship. So when if he wins against Punk, then you challenge him. But it's a special Dynamite, so oh well, we're going with it, unfortunately. I mean, it's going to be a great match, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that he's challenging him for the interim. It's a different situation, all right? He has to beat Punk. So Moxley picks up a microphone. I hate you, Jericho. I used to look up to you. That's why it's so sad. And I still believe in your own way you are the greatest of all times. All the stuff you've got going on now, it's pathetic. This AEW championship is championship in professional wrestling. And I made it that way. So if you've got the balls, leave all that trash at home. I don't want the Wizard or the Lead Champion. I want the guy from the Super J Cup. I want the Lionheart. And if this is going to be defended on my watch, it's going to be Jon Moxley against the last survivor of the Heart Dungeon. The Heart Dungeon. Stu Hart, Bret Hart, Lionheart, Chris Jericho. Excalibur announced we have trios titles and there will be awarded to the winners at All Out in September. And by the way, I want to bring this up to you. That weekend, good luck trying to get everything in, because not only are we going to have All Out, we're going to have Clash at the Castle, and then we're going to have, how do you like these apples? NXT premium live events. I'm going to have to do double uploads. One's going to go live and one's going to end up going, I don't want to put the two of them together, because they're not. So what I'm going to have to do is go on my computer, watch on Peacock with NXT. I pray to God it's over the 12 o'clock. I can go and then do the review and go into and have the upload for preview. Hopefully it ends up that way. Hopefully it's over across the pond. We go to the FTW title. Absolute Ricky Starks versus Danhausen. Tony Schiavone joined the broadcast booth. Starks booted Danhausen in the head. Danhausen fired back with a kick to Starks' teeth. Starks charged at Danhausen, but Danhausen dodged Ricky. Ricky's own momentum carried him into the corner, ramming his neck in the buckles. Danhausen cradled Ricky for a near fall. Starks was holding his tweaked neck. Starks sliced Danhausen in half with a spear and pinned Danhausen. That was smart of Ricky to do that, says Tats. Stark, very nice, very evil, but you've not absolute. And just like last week, I've got a little bit left in the tank. So let's bring out another challenger. And I'm for real this time. Hook answered the challenge. I think business is about to pick up, said Ross. Not smart, Ricky, said Taz. Hook found his mark with body shots, then and a headbutt to Starks. Hook hurled Starks with a pump handle suplex. Starks countered an El Camino with a spear. Hook got Starks back with the red rum, and Starks tapped out. We've got a new champion. It's time for Hook, said Jim Ross. Starks and Hook fist pumped after the match, showing mutual respect. Shivani was in the ring to interview a distraught Ricky Starks. I'm not a stranger to losing, and I'm okay with that. But I was given that title with people thought it was a noose, and I turned it into a tie. Nobody back there can say anything. I did it. I exceeded all expectations. There are people back there who tell me to be patient. My time is right now. I don't want people to say I had a string of bad luck. It was just a string of bad timing. And then that's why me and Powerhouse Hobbs, clothesline Starks from behind and followed up with a spine buster. Did you see how the neck of Starks whiplashed? That was grotesque, and said Excalibur. Dante Martin with Sky Blue versus Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti. Before we get into this match, I want you to go on to, I believe JD from New York. He's got the link. It's a video of what went on after. Taz is fucking proud papa at all. So go check it out. It's very heartwarming, and I even teared up a little bit. Yes, I know I got a zit, and it wasn't going away anytime soon. So concealer this whole weekend. So we go into this next match. Sammy took Dante off his feet with a beautiful drop kick. Dante vaulted over Sammy and answered with his own drop kick, trying to get under the skin of Sammy with mind games. Sammy and Tay tried to leave, but Dante chased after Sammy. Dante threw Sammy off the ramp and then rocketed with a moon somersault onto Sammy. Dante backdropped Sammy over the top rope to the arena floor. Dante springboarded off the top rope, but Sammy blasted Dante with a knee strike. Sammy launched himself over the top rope and wiped out Dante on the floor. Dante hit a standing Spanish fly on Sammy for a near fall. Sammy came out of nowhere with a cutter to Dante. Sammy followed up with a GTH and pins Dante. After the bell, Tay and Sammy continued to beat down Dante. Sammy climbed up to the top rope, but Sky jumped in the way. Tay pointed her finger at Sky and distracted Sky just long enough for Anna Jay to jump Sky from the behind. Ruby Soho, Ortiz, and Eddie Kingston sprinted down to the ring to even up the odds. Sky Blue is a fucking moron. Why wasn't she on top of this whole situation with her man getting his ass kicked in? She's a moron. She's a fucking stupid baby face, basically. Backstage, Jay Lethal, Sonya Dutt, and Sadamar Singh said they have unfinished business with the Best Friends. The Best Friends are standing there and challenge them to a trios match this Friday on Rampage. Tony Schiavone is standing in the ring to interview Jungle Boy. This was great. This was fucking a highlight of the fucking evening. Luchasaurus walked to the ring with Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy, Christian Cage, you are the biggest pussy I've ever met in my entire life. I've watched you come out for weeks and talk all sorts of BS about my entire family. And congratulations, you are now the most relevant you've ever been in your entire career. But as soon as I get back here, you tuck your tail and run. I didn't get why you were so angry. You said it was because I threw you out of some battle royal a year ago, and you missed out on some winning bonus. You were strapped for cash because your wife just divorced your ass. This is news to me. I didn't know that Christian Cage was divorced. This will be his third fucking marriage if he gets married again. First, it was to Val Venus' sister. Now it's to this. I would suggest you stay single, okay? You're not good with marriage. Or take a fucking page from your best friend, Edge. Jeez Louise. Christian used Luchasaurus to protect him. But that monster is my friend. And that Christian didn't realize he is the only being protected from me, because no one's going to get their hands on you before I do. Christian made it clear. His only goal was to hurt me. If you want to talk trash, then talk trash. I take it. 3 years ago, I was standing in a dirt hole with my Uncle Dave and a shovel, watching my tears fall into the dirt and turn it into mud. I dug my father's grave with my own 2 hands. Christian was backstage and interrupted Jungle Boy. Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, you made a mistake and you threw everything away to remain Jungle Boy's lapdog. Jungle Boy, you think I ran away from you because I was scared? I was scared of what I might do to you. You told me all your secrets, and now I'm going to prey on you. The Young Bucks were backstage with the Cutler Camp. It's too early for this shit. The Bucks are intrigued by the idea. The Bucks are with Brandon Cutler, and they're in the back doing their shtick thing. The Bucks are intrigued by the idea of the trios titles. The Bucks bumped into Hangman Adam Page, and Nick Jackson wished each other happy birthday. Matt said there's something they've been meaning to talk to Page. But before they could have that talk, the Dark Order came into the scene and wished Page a happy birthday. The Bucks walked off without finishing the conversation. Do we see the Elite making a reunion return? Handicap match. Tony's Nese and Mark Sterling versus Swerve Strickland. Keith Lee was banned from ringside. Swerve grabbed Nese and nailed him with a backbreaker. Nese cross-chopped Swerve in the throat. Nese yanked Strickland down with a handful of hair. Swerve splashed Nese in the corner with a back elbow and then diving uppercut. Swerve hit a thrust kick and then a double foot stomp onto Nese. Swerve Strickland cracked Sterling in the head with a kick and then pinned him. Backstage, Josh Woods blindsided Keith Lee and laid him out. As Swerve saw on the big screen, Nese clocked Strickland in the head with the tag team titles. The tag title. Malachi Black and Brody King were backstage. Malachi Black said the Redeemer spent his entire life worshiping the throne, a la Triple H. But Malachi Black could help him take his place and sit on that throne. Brody King said he wanted Darby Allin in a coffin match. So I think we're gonna have that tonight, if I'm not mistaken, or it's gonna be next week. AEW World Women's Title Match. Thunder Rosa versus Mia Yamashita. I'm terrible with these fucking Japanese names, so be prepared if you've been with me from the start. Japanese names are not my strong suit. It took me almost like 6 months to say Shinsuke Nakamura. It took me 6 months. Seriously. So, anywho, champion and challengers locked up in the ring. Maya grabbed a wrist lock, and Thunder Rosa applied a headlock, and then a arm drag. Maya intercepted a right hand from Rosa. Rosa pulled Yamashita onto the apron, but Yamashita swept out the legs of Rosa. Outside the ring, Thunder Rosa blasted Yamashita with a shotgun dropkick. Thunder Rosa climbed to the top turnbuckle, but Yamashita hit Rosa with a high roundhouse kick. They slugged it out with forearms in the center of the ring. They blocked one another's lariats attempts. Maya mauled Thunder Rosa with a delayed German suplex for a near fall. Thunder Rosa was looking for the fire driver, but Maya escaped and fired back with a skull kick. Maya cradled Thunder Rosa, but Thunder Rosa kicked out. Thunder Rosa hit a roundhouse and then fired Thunder Driver, pitting Maya Yamashita. What a battle, said Tez. It was war, but Thunder Rosa retains, said Excalibur. The Blackpool Combat Club, American Dragon Bryan Danielson versus the Jericho Appreciation Society, Red Death Daniel Garcia. This was a match. And I'm going to note something on the Jonathan Grisham. He was pissed off that he opened the show. Alright. You fucking asshole. You have the opportunity to set the tone for the entire fucking rest of the pay-per-view. But since you just didn't want to fucking do that, you wanted to fucking play baby because you're the Ring of Honor champion. Hello, it was the FTR and the Briscoes, and they were more prominent. You, unfortunately, TNT has no idea who the fuck you are. They know who Claudio Castagnoli is because they've seen him on USA and they've seen him on Fox. He's more of a bigger name. That's why this whole thing went down. If you don't like it, tough. You will never have a job in the world of professional wrestling. Oh, fucking well. That's your bad, not mine. To start off, Chris Jericho joined the commentary team for this match. Danielson went right out to Garcia with a running charge, his boots hitting Garcia right in the jaw. Danielson followed up with a tope suicida. The fans chanted, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. As Danielson returned to the ring, Garcia hit Danielson with the back elbows. Danielson mounted Garcia with the ground and pound attack. Garcia came back with an uppercut and clubbing elbows to Danielson. Garcia followed up with a net breaker. Garcia whipped Danielson into the ring steps barricade. Garcia ripped the padding off the concrete floor, but Danielson blasted Garcia with kicks. Danielson used a missile dropkick on Garcia. Danielson had a hard landing. I think Danielson might be hurt, said Taz. Garcia seized the moment and jumped on Danielson with elbows and strikes. Danielson stumbled, collapsing to the mat, and rolled to the arena floor. Garcia grabbed Danielson and DDT'd the American Dragon on the exposed concrete floor. Danielson is taking the fight to a rattled Bryan Danielson, said Excalibur. Garcia gouged at Danielson's bloody forehead. Garcia bit down on Danielson's forehead. Danielson escapes Garcia's legs. Danielson clubbed Garcia with forearms and then back suplex back suplex Garcia off the turnbuckles. Danielson may be just operating on instinct alone, said Excalibur. Bryan Danielson unleashed hell with numerous roundhouse kicks to Danielson. Danielson approached Garcia, but Garcia grabbed him and locked on the submission. Danielson countered with a tiger suplex. Garcia escaped and clobbered Bryan with a hammer and elbow strikes. Danielson got to his feet and used a shoulder capture on Garcia. That took everything Garcia had to be able to kick out. Garcia smacked Danielson in the face with an open palm strike. Danielson retaliated with the running knee. Garcia broke up the momentum by rolling to the outside. Danielson followed him with a diving knee. Someone grabbed Danielson's leg from beneath the ring. Garcia hit Bryan with a pile driver and then put Bryan in a leg lock. The referee stopped the match as Bryan Danielson was out. Jake Hager jumped in the ring, revealing himself as the person who grabbed Bryan Danielson's leg. Daniel Garcia just upset the American Dragon. Tell your kids you were there, replied Jim Ross. So we have Rampage that is coming up, and that is it for my show. That is it. I've been following the G1 Climax. I'm going to get you all the hats going on there on my preview and predictions. It'll be uploaded sometime on Saturday, hopefully before 3 o'clock. So, that is that. I want to say thank you to everybody. I'm sorry that this is late. This is actually being finished up by 10:15-ish in the morning, so it will be up to its regular time. So, go check it out and everything. Please go check out everything else on my YouTube page. Subscribe, like, and share all videos. Please turn on my notifications so when I go live, you know about it. Also, check me out on all my social media. Mel'S Mat Chat is Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Also, check me out on Snapchat and Facebook. Also, please, go check out my Extra Classics. Go check out Harrys.com. Go check out LiquidDeath.com. DeathWishCoffee.com. Check out HOG Wrestling for High Intensity 8 at Terminal 5 on August 28th. Get your tickets if there's any left. If you can't be there or you can't get tickets, don't worry, it's on Fight TV. And please go check out Outbreak Wrestling on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Please have a great rest of your Friday. You'll be seeing me again sometime tomorrow. It's going to be uploaded. I'm not going to be live. And when I do get home and I'm watching SummerSlam, be noted that I'm going to go live. Legitimately, I have to go live right after SummerSlam. So hopefully it's not going to be a Newton midnight situation. Okay? So have a great Friday. Love you all. And I'll see you for the preview and predictions of WWE SummerSlam. Have a great Friday. Love you all.